Well, howdy. Welcome to Hump Day Twang Licks, where we've been joining Hump and Twang together since 2018. And I probably should have waited longer to use that one. That doesn't sound very impressive. But what we are here for now is Hump Day Twang Licks number 16 here, the last Hump Day Twang Lick of April 2018. And we hope to go out in style here. We're going to get extra twangy, do a lot of bending today. That last Hump Day Twang Lick number 15, that was a whole lot of that chicken pitting. The 3 dead down, 1 up live kind of situation. And that's a lot to it. That was on a longer lesson. So we're going to just get right to it. This is the last time you hear this particular backing track. It's going away. That was our April. We'll be back in May with something new. But we're going to do something a little bendy this time. And I'm going to fire that up and let's hear what it is. So all kinds of bend in there. Again, we're following as we've been following all month, the A, D, and the E changes, and that's what we're doing here. I'm going to play it one time slower without the accompany. So we're going to go out bending in style here in April 2018, and that sounds up your alley. Go get that twang instrument of your choice, and let's get going. All right, let's get rolling with Hump Day Twang Lick number 16. It's locked, loaded in the chamber. And really what we're doing here is we're working off what I call one of the foundations of twang. I mean, like we've been doing all month, we're following that A to D to E shuffle. Those are chord changes. We're following our licks with it. But using this foundation shape, which is... Okay, and you've heard it in other lessons. You're going to hear it again because it is, in my opinion, one of the foundations of twang. So we are following it, and it's just a matter of like, okay, well, that's basically what I'm working off in this lesson, but what am I going to do to make each of those 3 positions, have a little variation? So to start with, I'm going... That's how I'm making the A position somewhat interesting. So let's move up close for the hot fretboard action and see what that is. So again, I've got my middle finger, which is my primary bending finger in this exercise, on the G string on the 4th. Now I've got my little finger positioned, getting ready to go on the high E on the 5th, because that is my primary shape, those 2 together. But in this case, we are starting by having our middle finger on the 4th of the G, and then we're starting with the G string and hitting the top 2 strings above it open. And then bending the G. Like that. Now once we get that bent, we're going to keep it bent up there. We're going to bring our little finger into the 5th. Back to the still bent G. And then back to the high E, open. Back to still bent G, and then letting it down. And then resolving with our index finger on the G string on the 2nd. So... Okay, so the next part is how do we get up now for that primary shape up here on the 10th for the D. So we do this. That's got a lot of slinky to it. Because we are... So that first lick, I'm resolving it on with my index finger on the G string on the 2nd. As I get ready to move, my middle finger comes back down on the G string and it starts coming up the G string to get to its target, which is the 9th, because that's going to be the middle finger on the 9th and then the high E being covered by the little finger on the 10th for our D. So you're going and bending it up a full step. And once you get it there, you hold it there, your little finger on the 10th, come back and hit the bent and let it down. And then resolve that 2 frets down on the G string with your index finger on the 7th. So really the tricky part is just getting that rhythm of walking up, sliding up in this case, that G string to the 9th and then going into a full bend on it. Okay, so now we're going up 2 because we got to get to the E. So in this case, of course, our little finger is going to be on the high E on the 12th, and our G string is going to be our middle finger on the 11th. Now to make this one interesting, so again, we started here, and then what made this interesting is we were sliding and bending into it, like unlike what we did here. Now, how are we going to make the E different than the other two we just did? Well, we're going to hit it and bend it twice. So I go ahead and put my fingers in that position I told you about. Little finger on the high E 12th, middle finger on the 11th on the G. And again, I'm down picking starting on my G string, and I'm hitting it twice, bam, bam. And as I do it, I'm matching it with a bend on the G string while I anchor my little finger on the high E 12th. This being the E position, you're fortunate enough to be able to let the B string, the second string, ring out, and it works just fine. Now I hit it twice, I keep the G bent, I pick the high E 12, come back for the bend and let it down, and of course you guessed it, 2 down on the 9th resolves it on the G string with your index. So again, all right, so all together from the top. And then we're going to, again, the same primary shape we started with down here. We're going an octave up to end back on the A. So in that case, that means you got to take your little finger on the high E all the way up to the 17th. And then, of course, that's going to put your G string with your middle finger down 1 on the 16th. So what we're doing there is we're starting this part with the high E on the 17th. We've already got the G string on the 16th pre-bent. And then, of course, we're resolving 2 down on the, the 14th. So we're from here. Okay, and that's just your octave A, and that's a little different, because remember when we started the A down here, when we get the A up here, all right, so put it all together, we got this part. So that's what the lick is. I want to play it real quick with the track so you can hear how it fits. Okay, so that's how it works. It's just got its own beat to it. So we're ending up here. That's the next part. That's your A. We're still in A. And this first part is what we learned in the last lesson. It's 3 dead down and 1 up. And what I'm doing is I'm working off the 5th and the 3rd string, your A and your E. And I'm making a shape that should be very familiar from the last lesson. But I've got my ring finger on the 5th string, the A string on the 16th. And then my index finger is going to be on the G string on the 14th. So I'm starting on the A string. I'm giving it a little bit of a note to start the party, but I'm going 3 dead down. I'm coming back for the active note with my index finger on the G string on the 14th. And once I do it, I'm going down. That last bit there is still off the 5th and the 3rd string, but what I'm doing is I'm using my middle finger now on the A string on the 12th. My index finger goes to the G string on the 11th, forms that shape, and I pick it and I slide it down 2. So now, of course, my middle finger's on the 10th and my index finger's on the G string on the 9th. So that last part. So for context, here we go. And again, that last bit, you're really only picking the top one, and it's the sliding down that gives that last bit the audio. That's it, my friends. That is Hump Day Twang Lick 16 in a nutshell as we end up April. Again, I'm going to play it in context with the backing track, and we'll take it from there. Here we go. I tell you, it's a keeper. We don't have to throw that one back. It's legal size. So again, it's working off the twang foundation shapes. I mean, that's, once you get down there, there's really kind of two foundation shapes when I get to a key. In this case, I'm up here in the 12th, so I'm an E. So again, that's just the third and the first. That lick would be that, so that you're doing your 11th, 12th with your little finger, then you come down to the 9th with your index finger, back to your 11th. And then you're working off the B string, which of course is another foundation of twang. So you anchor your middle finger there on the 11th, that doesn't change. So in that case, so again, it's high E12, back to the still bent G on the 11th. You're using your index finger down the 9th. And you give one of those little waggle there on the 11th. And then you bring in your ring finger on the B string on the 12th. So you're bending your G string again. Bonus lick. Cue the cheesy graphic. Bonus lick. All right. So there we go. Hump Day Twang Lick 16's in the book. April 2018 is in the book. We're coming back in May with all new, fresh, hot, out of the oven twang and a whole new backing track. If you got anything, you know the routine, you got anything fun out of this, go ahead and give me a like button. Share it with other twang friends that might enjoy these types of lessons so we can spread the gospel of twang, you and me working together. And you know, I'm going to end with the motto, of course, the Bender Bunker. It's never too late to go on a bender. I hope you do, whether it be guitar or otherwise. I'm not judging. And we will see you next time. Appreciate you watching, and you have a great week until next Hump Day. Be good.